All right, forget everything you thought you knew about crypto market cycles. Let's dive right into this explainer and see how digital assets are moving completely past the hype and deep into the actual machinery of real, regulated finance. If you've been watching the markets recently, you know the narrative has shifted completely. We're no longer just staring at price candles or chasing viral token launches. We are literally witnessing the foundation of a brand new global market operating system.
So here's our game plan, acting as our map through this new operating system. We'll be looking at the infrastructure era, tokenization entering the clearinghouse, the stablecoin distribution battle, AI agents getting payment rails, stress testing the trust layer, and finally, the future of financial rails. Let's get right to it.
What we're witnessing right now is a monumental shift. It's no longer just a question of, hey, can we put this on chain? No, we're actively testing if the infrastructure can actually hold up at a global scale. We are moving away from an era defined by speculative hype and completely unregulated viral cycles, and we're stepping straight into the realm of exact legal rights, transparent reserves, secure settlement, and real governance. And honestly, this is where the big capital is moving.
Okay, Section 1. The infrastructure era begins.
Now, the sheer scale of this shift is absolutely staggering. I mean, think about the European Union's comprehensive MiCA compliance rules going live, or Circle officially receiving final OCC approval for a national trust in the US. That is a massive deal. It's not just paperwork. It establishes a federally supervised trust bank, which pulls stablecoin issuers entirely out of the regulatory gray area and firmly into regulated custody and fiduciary services. It's laying down the actual financial railroads. And why does this matter to you? Because serious institutional money demands this exact legal clarity before it ever even thinks about entering the ecosystem.
So we've got this fascinating duality in the market right now. On one hand, speculative meme assets are still grabbing massive attention, right? The dog coins are still out there doing their thing, and retail liquidity is super visible. But behind all that noise, institutional stablecoins are quietly going mainstream. They're built explicitly for cross-border payments and merchants, and they are the ones actually wiring the global economy together. While the meme coins generate the flashy headlines, the infrastructure assets are generating the real-world utility. The crucial takeaway here is that serious global jurisdictions aren't treating this like some niche internet trend anymore. They are formally writing it into financial law. Look at this. The US and UK are aligning on settlement recommendations for late 2026. By early 2027, the UK and South Korea are practically racing to issue tokenized sovereign bonds. In Japan, they're classifying crypto as a financial product with a targeted 20% tax treatment by 2028. This is coordinated global regulatory adoption happening in real time, and it's literally writing the playbook for the next decade of finance. Moving on to Section 2. Tokenization enters the clearinghouse.
$30.1 billion. That staggering number is the tokenized real-world asset market cap right now. Let that sink in. It proves we have officially left the experimental sandbox. This is a mainstream movement backed by massive institutional capital, signaling that tokenized equities, real estate, and bonds are hitting real-world utilization at scale.
But the real conversation isn't just about the tech itself. It's about securing those exact same traditional rights, but with vastly improved collateral mobility. I mean, the DTCC, which is essentially the engine room of Wall Street, has moved tokenization into live production. You've got heavy hitters like JP Morgan actively tokenizing top-tier ETFs to test live treasury use cases, and working directly with the CME group to make margin collateral move faster and cheaper. And when you see up to $1 billion in tokenized private credit being announced on the Stellar network, you know for sure the institutional clearing layer has officially embraced the blockchain.
Which brings us to Section 3, the stablecoin distribution battle.
Get a load of this figure, $1.79 trillion. That's the adjusted stablecoin volume for just the first half of the year. It perfectly illustrates just how heavily these networks are being utilized. We're not just talking about trading pairs on an exchange anymore. These are the high-speed rails of the modern digital economy.
And this sparks what is easily the most critical power struggle we're seeing. Who actually gets to capture the reserve economics? Well, the Open USD model is proposing a fascinating shift, taking the yield generated by the reserves and actually sharing it with their partners, minus a management fee. With over 140 businesses listed across payments, banking, and commerce, this completely rewrites the incentive structure. It suddenly makes adopting and distributing this specific stablecoin incredibly lucrative for those partners.
We are watching this distribution battle play out live. Take the partnership between JCB and Circle, for instance, exploring cross-border treasury and merchant payments in Japan. It proves that banking access, distribution, and merchant reach are now strategic weapons. The ultimate winners in the stablecoin space aren't just going to be the ones with the coolest brand. They'll be the ones with the deepest, most integrated roots into everyday, real economy transactions globally. All right, let's shift gears completely for Section 4, AI agents get payment rails. This is where things get almost sci-fi. Visa, MasterCard, and Ripple are officially backing the new X402 standard. Think about it. An autonomous AI agent can't exactly walk into a local bank branch with a driver's license to open up a checking account, right? But with this standard, that agent now has a verifiable identity, built-in spending limits, and the settlement rails it needs to autonomously execute transactions on-chain. To put the scale of that into perspective, $24 million was settled across 75 million distinct micropayments just last month using this X402 standard. The growth is incredibly fast. But here is the massive reality check we need to talk about. While the opportunity for autonomous AI commerce is just enormous, the control layers, liability frameworks, and audit trails have to scale equally fast. When machines are spending money thousands of times a second, you need absolute perfection in your approval logic.
And that leads us perfectly into Section 5, stress testing the trust layer. Because in a fully automated world, you absolutely need professional security models checking the raw blockchain data before a single cent moves. We're seeing a major pivot toward these rigorous 100-point risk filtering pipelines. They prioritize catching smart contract vulnerabilities and analyzing complex liquidity structures rather than just riding speculative hype. You simply can't rely on community sentiment or good vibes anymore. You have to rely on verified technical stability.
Because when those controls fail, the consequences are immediate. We saw Ostium have to completely pause trading after a reported $18 million Oracle exploit. We're also seeing intense regulatory friction, like the CFTC stepping in to order call checks to fulfill pending political trades. That whole situation has sparked a massive, high-stakes debate over federal uniformity versus state intervention in prediction markets. And then you have platforms like Pump.Fun facing really tough accountability questions about user trust. These trust tests remind us that whether we're talking about an $18 million technical exploit or a massive jurisdictional battle, trust and accountability are the hardest things in the world to build. Let's wrap things up with Section 6, the future of financial rails. To really understand the actual state of the market, we have to impartially separate confirmed institutional milestones from developing technical exploits. It's absolutely vital to distinguish what is live right now, like traditional clearinghouses moving into tokenization, from what is still just a policy recommendation, a proposed economic model, or an active, developing situation. This kind of disciplined tracking is exactly what separates informed participants from the hype cycle.
Because look, institutional adoption doesn't just magically erase market cycles. Take BlackRock, for instance. Their digital assets under management dropped 39% in a given period, despite taking in massive net inflows of $15.1 billion. Meanwhile, corporate treasuries are actively balancing their massive Bitcoin holdings with billions in stable USD reserves just to manage their liquidity coverage. True maturity in this space means transparent liabilities, realistic revenue models, and incredibly disciplined capital allocation.
So, I want to leave you with a few massive, provocative questions from the community today, because answering them is going to define the future of our financial system. If we're really moving global finance on-chain, what exact standards should investors demand? Who should truly own the economics of stablecoin reserves? How do we balance autonomous AI spending with actual legal liability? And when legal codes clash in prediction markets, who gets the final say? These aren't just technical problems anymore, folks. They are foundational societal questions.
Because at the end of the day, as this explainer clearly shows, the ultimate winners won't be the ones with the biggest marketing budgets or the loudest hype on social media. The winners will be the ones with the strongest, safest infrastructure. Risk rails decide who scales. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack these incredible shifts, and I will see you in the next explainer.